Hi, I'm Seth Burkett. I'm the author of The Boy in Brazil, and today I'm going to read you a short passage which covers my first experiences of the country after flying in from England to be a professional footballer for Sorriso Esporte Clube. After 8 hours of driving on dusty, potholed roads with views of nothing more than expansive fields of crops, punctuated by settlement every now and again, we came to a small city. We drove through a dusty favela at the edge of an industrial estate, filled with box houses created from whatever materials the owners could find. On the edge of the favela, we stopped at what appeared to be a garage, I presumed to fill up with petrol. It turned out that Casa dos Filtros, literally House of Filters, and indeed a former garage, was my new home. The chairman gestured for us to get out our suitcases and follow him, and tentatively I obeyed. Casa dos Filtros had a big up and over front door and a corrugated iron roof. The door led into a large communal area and kitchen. There was a long bench running from one wall to the other and a television opposite this. I wondered why there was a toilet brush on the table. The house was empty. It was late afternoon and the team was presumably training. We were taken to a room on the left where the chairman told us to leave our suitcases. The room was a little bigger than my one at home. This one I had to share with 5 Brazilians, or 4 on Michelle. 3 bunk beds were shoved around the perimeter of the room, leaving an area of about 4 square metres in the middle. The windows had bars covering them, though one of the windows had a bar missing. The most notable object in the room was a large air conditioning box in the top corner of the room, which had been turned up to full in the absence of the residents. It felt like a refrigerator in there. Quotes printed on paper in large fonts were pinned to the walls of the room, and I wished that I knew what they meant. A couple were clearly marked as being biblical, and I suspected the others were motivational. The concrete bathroom was a collection of shared open showers, 3 toilets with no doors and a urinal under a washing line. Shower curtains hung limply where the toilet door should have been in a vain attempt to preserve the user's dignity, though one toilet lacked a curtain was utterly exposed. This same toilet was missing a toilet brush, and I couldn't help but think the brush on the dining room table was in the wrong place. And what's that brush needed in that toilet? Flies were hovering around what the last user had deposited on the seat, and the other 2 toilets had urine covering the floor. Deciding this was the lesser of 2 evils, I carefully tiptoed in to relieve myself. It seemed my personal hygiene was rapidly about to go downhill. We got back into the chairman's car and headed across town. The beautiful scenery that was so overwhelming in Salvador was absent from the Sorriso area. Instead, there were miles and miles of plain, boring soybean fields, stretching as far as the eye could see. There remained uncleared patches of rainforest around the outskirts of the city, and not until we got 10 minutes out of the place was there much foliage, replete with tropical birds of all colours of the rainbow. The city of Sorriso itself, however, was rather plain. Nice, but not exactly inspiring. Like many of the newly built areas, such as notoriously bland Brasilia, it was a bit too manufactured, almost perfectly square. At the centre were 2 parks, filled with ice cream vendors, cafes and diners, known locally as luncheonettes, and benches, along with the newly built shopping centre, cinema and television studio complex, providing a social hub of the city, when the football stadium and churches weren't open, of course. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're more interested in reading on more or want to know anything about my time in Brazil, then feel free to either send me a message on social media. My Twitter handle is @SethBurkett. The book itself is available from all good book retailers and also directly from the publisher, which is www.bulletdreams.com. If you want a signed copy, again, just feel free to DM me and I'm sure I can get it sorted.